Hey everyone, so this is what we'll be making in this tutorial. That's actually a scene I did for one of my clients. I don't know how to say the name exactly, so you can check out his page. He has some cool videos uploaded and upcoming. Also, some of you guys seems to be waiting patiently for my upcoming course. In this course, you will learn how to make those cool video edits that you see on social media. I'll teach you the process and the workflow of how these edits are done inside of After Effects from start to finish. Also, I have been playing with Blender these days as well to make scenes for my editing. So I thought why not add Blender inside the course as well, so you can learn it too. So from the idea to the finished edit, you will learn how to find the idea, convert this idea into a topic for the video, how to make visuals based on the topic. Also, we'll learn about effective sound design that complements the video well and takes your edit to a whole new level. We will be making 3D scenes inside of Blender to implement them inside the edit, as you can see in my videos. So you will be able to follow easily even if you haven't used Blender before. We will also look into the projects that I did for my clients and some of my own and see what makes them look amazing. The project file from the course will be available, of course, and plus 2 extra files from my shop that you will get absolutely at no cost. I'm doing this because a lot of people sending me texts, especially these days, that they have been visiting master classes on the internet, but honestly not getting the value they actually signed up for and not the inside as well. All they are getting is the basic stuff that could be easily covered inside of YouTube videos, honestly. So my goal is to give you an actual value and make you the editor who whatever the project he touches becomes amazing, if that makes sense. It will be amazing, God willing, and I'm hoping to launch it in July. So let's hope for good and see you in the course. The first thing I did before starting was I got into Photoshop, edited the photo that I had, also a few PNG files, just to get the things going for the project. Okay, let's put the photo I showed in the beginning of this video on the timeline. And let's lower down the quality as well. And these are a few icons that I also showed in the beginning of this video inside of Photoshop. Let's put them on timeline as well. What I will do is right click and then pre-compose them. Call it UI for phone. And then double click to navigate to this composition. I think I will delete these two for now and just leave the message bubble for now. So first you have to do is put the anchor point at the bottom of this using the pen behind tool. And then add scale keys to kind of make it pop up. Then smooth them out using the curve to make the movement a bit smooth. So when you're working with these sort of videos, sometimes you have multiple scenes that need a good transition or a special effect. This is where the sponsor of this video comes in, AVE Tools. It's an extension for After Effects that comes with a ton of easy to use effects. Simply you have to have 2 clips on your timeline and double click the transition you want to apply. It's not only limited to the transitions, but has a lot of cool effects as well. For example, glass effect is one of my most favorite effects. As you can see, this is not just an overlay, it has distortions inside the glass. Extension is easy to navigate and you can preview the effect before applying it. You can also use the code Ali30 to have a 30% discount. Once it is installed, you should see the AVE panel. Simply put the folder of the pack on the plugin and you should be good. Inside the composition settings, you have to lower down the width of your composition so it kind of fits with the message bubble. And then add a new null object and put it exactly above your message bubble and then attach it to your null object. Then using the position keys, I will first add a key and do nothing, and then duplicate the message bubble and move it down a bit. On the timeline, move it a bit forward. As soon as the bubble pops up, I will move it up using the null object. Then smooth out the curve. Then let's duplicate it one more time and put it a bit forward as well and move it down on your display. Make a couple of duplicates. I think that should be good. And then put them side by side one by one, so they kind of pop up one by one. Right now we can't see because it's not on the display, so basically what you have to do whenever a new bubble pops up, you have to use keys inside a null object to move it up. It's exactly like how we see notifications on our mobile phones. Put them at equal distance from each other. For now, I'm just gonna add position keys to whenever a new bubble pops up, the null object goes up. Whenever a new message pops up, you have to move the null object upwards. And if the message is cutting inside of the display, you can go to the composition setting, add a bit of height to your composition. And then when you're done with this, hit OK. And then select all the keys. And inside of the graph editor, you have to make a curve like this, so it applies for all of the keys. So when you play it back, it should look like this. And now you should see the text on your composition. Let's scale up the photo and sort of fit it above the phone. If you see it at a high quality, this is how it should look like. And whatever the quality you choose on your display, the final output will not be of the low quality, it will be of the high quality, so you don't have to worry about that. Make a mask on this phone's glass. After that, I will duplicate it and delete the mask from the bottom one. So we have this glass matte, and we will use this glass matte to make a reflection effect. Okay, let's put these icons on the timeline. I will scale it down a tiny bit. You know, we can do some preparations inside of Photoshop. I'm a lazy person. I will just simply do it inside of After Effects. Create a mask on this photo. Also make sure the mask is inverted. And add a fill effect to it. Turn the fill effect off and then pick the exact same shade. And then select mask 1. So we have this filled up. But still you can see some sort of outlines. So simply to cut these outlines, you can turn down the mask expansion into the negative values, so you don't see these weird lines anymore. I will add a empty text layer, and we will use that to make the numbers. And type nothing and put a slider effect to it. Open the text. Hold Alt on your keyboard and click this stopwatch. Then attach this snail icon on your slider control. And then pick a simple font for this. You don't have to go for fancy thing unless you are doing something specific. Now the purpose of doing this is so whenever you move the numbers of this slider control, it will also change the numbers inside your text. So let's add a key for this. At the beginning of the timeline, it's set to 0%. The end of it, somewhere in the middle of it, goes to 500. But now there is an issue. We see the decimal values as well. We don't want these decimal values. So simply to cut these decimal values out, you have to go inside the given code and add math.floor. Open bracket and go to the end of this code, another close bracket. Open bracket and another close bracket. And now you shouldn't see the decimal values anymore. Alright, let's quickly have a look at what we have so far. Looks nice. Let's move them a bit forward on the timeline. Also, I will attach the text to the icon. And let's put the anchor point at the bottom of this using the pen behind tool and add scale keys to the icon so it also pops up like the messages. Also adjust the curve. Then convert them to 3D object. Open orientation of the icon and hold Alt and click. Then add this simple wiggle code to make it move randomly. Okay, now here's a cool tip. I want to add the people's icon as well, but I don't want to animate it over again. So I will just simply duplicate these two and put them above like this. While the icon is selected, the duplicated icon is selected, turn it a tiny bit and then move it away from this. Place it somewhere else. If the text appears to be behind, you can simply use the Z position to move it forward. Select the mask of this icon and then simply cover the heart. Then duplicate this icon one more time. While this icon is selected, hold Alt and put the audience icon on the top of this. So it will take place of this icon by default. Delete the wiggle code from this and attach it to the actual icon. If this appears to be turned to some other direction, you can just fix it by moving it manually. Lastly, I will put a fill effect to it. Actually, I already have a fill effect, so let's utilize that. Pick a white shade and make sure there's no mask on this. Scale it down a bit and fit it with the and there you have it. Okay, when you are done with all of this, you can do is select the icons and I think I'm gonna scale them down a tiny bit. There appears to be a bit big. And then move them forward on the timeline so everything don't appear at the same time on the timeline. I will select everything excluding the glass and the photo and pre-compose them. Double click to navigate to this composition, and I would like you to pay attention on this part especially. Select the layers that are not attached to anything and then move them in the middle of the composition. And then from the composition settings, I will turn the width down a bit. And then hit OK. Let's head back to our main composition and let's see what we have so far. Okay, let's put it above the phone. This is what we have. We are almost done, but we want to add the reflection. And I still think the icons are a bit big, but we will see that later. So this is the reflection. I will duplicate the UI pre-composition and put it below the glass and also move the anchor point over at the glass. And then open scale and unlink the scale and move the scale to a negative value. Also turn it to a 3D object. Also sort of move it towards you so it faces you. Set it to alpha matte so it clips inside the glass. I think turning down the opacity should make it more reflectionist. Put a scatter effect to it. The scatter effect will give that texture that we see on the glass. And then after that put a Gaussian blur on this. And let's actually move the scatter effect below the Gaussian blur effect. That's how it looks. And right now it doesn't look too finished, so let's make it a bit more clean. Go inside the mask of the glass, turn down the expansion values so it cuts the composition, as you can see. And then add a little bit of feather. This makes it look a bit more believable. Now it's time to add some effects to finish it off. Add an adjustment and put a CC vignette effect to it. Copy my settings and put this focus point on the phone. And then call it vignette so we keep everything organized. And then call it vignette so we keep everything organized. After that, add another adjustment and call it flicker. And put a sapphire flicker effect to it. This is a third-party plugin. To make things a bit faster, we use sometimes third-party plugin. This effect gives that candlelight effect. And then add another adjustment and put it below the other two adjustments. And put a transform effect to it. This effect we will use to use the zoom effect. So add keys for the anchor point, the scale, and lastly the rotation. Move these keys a bit forward on the timeline. And actually let's put this adjustment above the vignette effect. Then scale it up and rotate it. Also, if you feel like, you can move the anchor point so your phone will be in the middle of the composition. Just a simple nice zoom out effect. As you can see, it already started to look cool. Okay, now let's turn these adjustments off for now. You can type anything. For example, I'm typing like. Pick a good font for this. This is just an extra step, you don't have to do this. We are pretty much done. Let's put a ramp effect to it as well. And pick blue tones to match with the scene. You can move the text layer behind everything just above the photo. So we have that cool parallax effect. And now let's add some animation to the text. Go inside the animate, pick position here. And then from the add menu you have to pick opacity. Then open the advanced panel and then change the shape. Also ease low value to 100%, ease high value to about 30 to 40%, then close it. After that, set the offset value to -100%. Move the keyframe backward a bit, then change the value to 100%. And after that, you have to add some values to the position and the opacity inside the animator property. So when you play it, it should look like this. And if you want to add another text, you can simply duplicate the first text and type something else like I did here. Now let's add another adjustment and call it prism effect. And put a BCC prism effect to it. And follow my settings. Now you don't have to do much in this, you just have to adjust the ending depth value. Just keep this effect subtle. And then another adjustment layer and we will call it the post-rise time effect. Naturally put a post-rise time effect to it. Actually I'm gonna go to the transform adjustment and modify the code. Okay, I want a bit more shaking. And then set the post-rise time value to, let's say, 12% or 15%. And there you have it. I hope you liked this video, and be sure to check out the AVE tools for After Effects. It's 100% worth using. And don't forget to use the discount code Ali30 to have a 30% discount. Thanks for watching, and I will be back in the next video.